Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Totalbiscuit. I'm here to ask and answer one simple question. WTF is Transformers Fall of Cybertron. It's a sequel to War for Cybertron by the same company, High Moon, and published by Activision. And it is a third-person shooter action-adventure based, of course, in the Transformers universe. Not the Michael Bay version, I might add. No, no, no. And indeed, what has been created with this short series, I suppose, of 2 games is, quite frankly, something that would blow every Michael Bay movie ever completely out of the water. Rightfully so. Now, I ask you another question. WTF was the first WTF is. Well, you might say, that was a ruse, right? No, actually it wasn't. Technically speaking, there were 2 videos before that called Irresponsible Reviews, which was a short-lived little series that I was doing over on cynicalbrit.com before all of this became a business. It was a hobby at the time. And I did a video of War for Cybertron, and it looked something like this. It's an extremely high-quality product with an awful lot of replayability. The multiplayer, again, is held back by a lack of dedicated servers, but if you play it with some reliable hosts in your region using the private game feature, it plays really, really well indeed. Great deathmatch play, a lot of game modes, and if you're a Transformers fan, honestly, you would be an absolute fool not to pick this game up. And there you go. Not quite as good as the stuff that was around these days, at least. I certainly hope not. But whatever the case, I actually gave this game a really, really hearty endorsement and said this is one of the best games of 2010, and it was. But unfortunately, the PC version wasn't exactly great. It was locked at 30 frames per second, which was not ideal. Now, I can thankfully say that Fall for Cybertron isn't Fall for Cybertron. Wow, I'm not... God damn it, I'm not trying to make out with it. Anyway, Fall of Cybertron is a 60 FPS game, which is much, much better, and that obviously means that it's superior to the console version. It's got better graphics, runs at 1080p and 60 FPS, and has very minimal loading times. However, it does lack somewhat in the options department. Graphics, you have 4 choices of presets here. I hate that. Presets are not good enough. This reminds me of Modern Warfare 3, actually, with this whole extra nonsense going on there. And the controls, while you can't rebind them, there are 6 sets of presets, at which point I have to ask why? Why not just let you change the keys? If you're gonna put 6 sets, including one for left-handed people, why not just let people change the keys? I mean, I haven't run into a problem with the controls. I haven't noticed any mouse acceleration. It may be there, but if it's there, it feels very subtle. I'm not having any crazy nonsense with that. I just don't get it. It's really, really weird. Anyway, this video is probably going to end up being rather lengthy, and this is why. Usually with WTF is, I start a game and I maybe play through the tutorial level, which will be this one, and then say, alright, let's start from here. I sorta, kinda, accidentally most of the game. Why? Well, because it's awesome, for one thing, and secondly, because I want to show you that. Grimlock's level. This was touted as being one of the big features of this game. The Grimlock is entirely melee-based and has a completely different playstyle to all the other Autobots. And that's kinda awesome. And it's got a dinosaur mode, also kinda awesome. And you fight Insecticons. Dinobots versus Insecticons, yeah! You know, the funny thing is I never really even watched Transformers as a kid, so I don't even know why I'm getting excited about that, but there's something infectious about it. So I'm going to show you Grimlock, and then I'm going to jump back and show you some other cool stuff, and then I'll show you the multiplayer. So from a multiplayer standpoint, this game has a very similar system. I wouldn't call it identical, but it's very similar to the first game. It's had a few tweaks in terms of its classes. Kill streaks have been removed, which is a good thing because they just serve no practical purpose. And it's pretty good, and we'll show you that later. Then there's escalation mode, which is a horde mode. Now, annoyingly enough, this game does not have 3-player co-op in the main campaign, which is something that War for Cybertron actually had. So that's a little bit annoying. I'll come on to whether or not that's actually a big deal a little bit later on. Alright. Sup? It's Swoop, as you can very clearly see, and he will gracefully fly through the air and then crash into a pillar. Oh, well, never mind, that's Swoop for you. So one of the first things you will probably notice when playing this game, and most likely when I do the Optimus Prime level, I'll show you that in great detail. The game has amazing voice acting. Like, they got everyone they possibly could. If they weren't dead or otherwise impossible to get a hold of, they got that voice actor. Obviously, Peter Cullen plays the main role. You've got Nolan North playing 3 characters, 2 of which I believe are fairly important in the game. And you've got all sorts of really other great voice talent in this game. Original Megatron, original Optimus, I mean... God, it's just beautiful. It's so very, very good. The voice acting is incredible quality. Yeah, you go get him. Because I can't do a damn thing about that. Yes. The game is full of awesome moments like that. Now, in a live stream a while ago for a game called Asura's Wrath, I described the idea of the fuck yeah moment. Now, what is the fuck yeah moment? The fuck yeah moment is when there is a part of a game that is so incredibly awesome that it just blows you away, and your only possible response is to say, fuck yeah! That is amazing! This game is full of that. Absolutely full of it. It really, really is. In fact, I can't think of many parts of the game that are not full of that. Now, when it comes down to this versus War for Cybertron, I've got to say that the pacing in the campaign here is so much better, it beggars belief. It is incredibly good. There is so much variety throughout the game. Each level has all sorts of different gimmicks and new play styles. There's a level which is pretty much focused entirely on playing as a helicopter. You get to play Vortex, which is really kind of fantastic. And it plays really well, too. I would say that control-wise, the air controls and the vehicle controls in general with the mouse and keyboard are not great, but they are entirely playable. It doesn't stop you playing them, it doesn't make you fail as a result of those controls, which is totally fine, but you're probably better off with a pad for those bits, but honestly, I couldn't even be bothered. Because the actual third-person shooter components work so well with the keyboard and mouse, I just thought, you know what, I'll stick with it, it'll be fine. It shouldn't really be a problem. And it's not. It really is not a problem at all. So that's always nice, because I was a little bit worried that the controls wouldn't actually be any good with the keyboard and mouse, that it would be a bad PC port. But no, it is an average PC port, but it's still better than the console version because of the fact that it runs at 60 FPS, and it is unbelievably, amazingly, fantastically great in terms of how smooth the game it is. Graphically, it does suffer in areas. There are, like, the cutscenes are lower resolution than the actual game itself, obviously designed for consoles. So it's a bit jarring when it goes to the few cutscenes that the game actually has. And some of the texture work is not amazingly good, but the animation quality is great, and the whole thing just looks absolutely brilliant. It really does. It's so colorful most of the time, which is what I am really surprised by, honestly. Alright, well, my shields are for the most part working. Okay, fuel, yep. Let's grab that. Well, that was... Okay, yeah, I think we could figure out how to deal with this. It's kind of annoying that they put you against a boss which doesn't allow you to smack the crap out of it, because, hey, it's Grimlock being a badass. But, hey, never mind. Grimlock gets his own full level. This is actually part of Starscream's level. Yeah, Starscream's level doesn't actually last that long. It's like, hey, you want to play Grimlock, right? Let's give you Grimlock for a level and a half. That sounds reasonable, right? And yes, indeed it does. Alright, I need to get back into cover. Or alternatively, of course, you could just smash them to pieces. Now, I have remarked that War for Cybertron was very much the Arkham Asylum of Transformers, and I think that's an entirely reasonable thing to say. But in this case, this is actually the Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine of Transformers. This level has obvious influences from the way that the Space Marines control in the 40k game. You smash through stuff, you recover your health just by executing stuff and smashing things to pieces. Cover is not as important in the Grimlock level as you might think. Or more to the point, it just isn't actually important at all. You smash stuff. You know, this is a really bad example because it happens to be one where you've just got to throw things at the boss enemy, which is really not all that interesting. So I'm hoping that after this we do get a part where we can just completely obliterate things, which is what this game is very, very good at indeed. No, I'm not going to use the shield. I'm going to do something else entirely. I'm going to execute this guy, or at least I'll try to. Oh, I've been zapped by EMP by the looks of it. We can try now. There we go. There's an execution. Funnily enough, while you're doing the execution, everyone just seems to freeze up and politely wait for you to finish, but that gets you all your health back and all of your shield. So they don't want you dying in the Grimlock level, and as long as you fight hard enough, then you certainly will not. In other levels, you do have to worry about taking cover, although it's weird because it's a third-person shooter that doesn't actually have a cover system per se. What it does have is the ability to swap your weapon from left to right arm, which is very, very important because it allows you to present the vast majority of the enemy's fire arc to cover rather than your own body, which is fairly important. That is badass. I am sorry, that is great. So you can kind of flip your weapon around and the majority of your body's going to be covered by cover, although a lot of cover can be destroyed in this game, so that's something you have to worry about. You can't just sit behind cover all the time, but you do need to use it because you die a little bit faster than you might expect, unless of course you happen to be Grimlock or Bruticus, who is a complete goddamn badass. Alright. Okay, let's do that. Come on. Get on with it. Hit the trigger indeed. Let me through. I am Grimlock. I am awesome. Uh-oh. Almost actually slid off that in the first place. Let me through, goddammit. So much for breaking that. Break it. Are you ready? Grimlock's a bit of a dumbass. Understandably so. Go! Go! Okay, let's move it. There we go, much, much better. Excellent. Now, I can't transform at the moment, don't worry, that will be changing quite soon. Apparently, in level 12, that's where things get to go. The only massive complaints that this is about to be a stupid sentence, by the way. The only massive complaints I've got about this game are minor ones. That's because there are no massive complaints about this game. At least not in the single-player campaign. The single-player campaign is astonishingly good. And as I mentioned before, I'd say that it's better than War for Cybertron simply because of its pacing. I miss the fact that you were always with 3 Transformers one way or the other, because it used to be you plus 2 sidekicks, so there was a nice little bit of banter going on there, but there's plenty of banter going on in this as well, even if you don't actually have somebody with you to make that happen, so that's not too bad. I don't really miss it as much as I thought I would, although it is, of course, a bit of a kick in the teeth that it doesn't have the co-op mode that it had previously. Alright, let's get rocking and rolling. We are on the full-on Grimlock level now, so looks like we'll be smashing stuff to pieces. And then, as I said, I'm going to be showing you some of the most awesome moments. I'm not going to show you all of them. The game's full of the bloody things, and I don't want to spoil it for you, but there's just one that I would think I would really like to show you. I don't think I need to show you the Bruticus level. I'd rather that just be a surprise for you, but the Bruticus level lasts maybe about 10-15 minutes and is awesome. You just obliterate everything. And they put a bunch of unique mechanics in for Bruticus just for that level, which it almost seems like a waste, but we go back to the point that I made earlier about pacing and you realize actually it really, really is not. They deliberately did that so that Bruticus wouldn't outstay his welcome, which is in itself an absolutely wonderful thing. They put so much effort into making an awesome experience for people that like Transformers and for people that actually just don't care. It's just a really good third-person shooter, and it's also got some great melee elements and bits that I feel were borrowed. Yeah, can't use that. That's an upgrade station. Can't use it. Can't get weapons or anything like that because I am Grimlock and Grimlock doesn't give a damn. So, there you go. We'll head on down in this direction. Ooh, smashy, smashy time. Shields up, ladies and gentlemen. Well, that didn't go so well for you, did it? Insecticons. Alright, well, let's just break them completely. That's what we're good at. Let's use my power sword. I mean, my energy blade. Yes, that thing. There are other parts of the game which kind of ape Arkham Asylum a little bit. There are a couple of levels where you have what's essentially a hook shot. Handles very much like Zelda hook shot or like the bat rope. I don't even know what that is. What is that? the bat grappled, the thingy. You know what I'm talking about, where he shoots the bloody rope up. Yeah, it's like that. And that plays pretty well. The jazz level is like that, and it often involves some pretty cool platforming and some nice wide open areas, which involve you having to be just a little bit smart as to where you actually go. The game, for the most part, is pretty linear, but it really does depend on the level in question. The Starscream level, you get to fly all over the place, same with the Vortex level as well, although there are things like the Optimus Prime levels are, for the most part, very, very linear. So if you're not a fan of linear gameplay, then you may not enjoy this game all that much. For some reason, my shield has disappeared. No, my sword, in fact. What the hell? Okay, so that's an interesting bug that I've never seen before. The sword was there, it isn't anymore. Not really sure how that ended up happening. Maybe if I were to trigger an execution animation, but actually it's not letting me do that, so I guess we just smash through everything. Oh, well, never mind. Grimlock doesn't need a sword. He's just gonna slash at the air and things will fall over. Oh, the violence, the glorious, glorious violence, and glorious it is indeed. No real question about that. They put it together really, really well. I was a little bit afraid that they wouldn't do a good level and that the melee system would be neutered, but no, they actually put a good set of mechanics in. It's pretty fun. Obviously, it gets a little bit repetitive, but that's the cool thing about War for Cybertron and Fall of Cybertron is they never really outstay their welcome, and I'd say that Fall of Cybertron does that even better than the original. The pacing is perfect. It gives you loads of different play styles to play. There's levels which are based on stealth, and there's a full cloaking system, executions and melee hits and things like that, which is awesome.
I see you've made your way to the lower depths of my tower, but your combat efficiency has only marginally improved. Your failure to change forms hinders your progress.
Then show me how!
The Insecticon Kickback has volunteered to assist you in unlocking your full potential.
And they don't really have failure states either. If you set off the alarm, then you can just fight. I mean, it might be difficult, but you can just fight, which is awesome. I was thinking that they would end up being a little bit gimmicky, but they're not. They feel great. Let's just knock this pillar down and come and smack the crap out of it. There we go, my sword is working again. I say a weird bug, I've never really seen that before. Grimlock level is particularly awesome. Oh, wow. And there is DLC, I might add, that allows you to actually play Dinobots in the multiplayer. It doesn't actually affect the game, it's just a skin pack. And I should probably talk about the DLC, because some of it is a little bit obnoxious, and the reason it's obnoxious is because they put DLC directly into the game in a way that says, hey, you should have the DLC. It's like there's a buy DLC option in... Oh, yeah, I'm gonna smack the crap out of this bastard. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you have some of that. You have some of that. Here you go. Ah! Stabby, stabby. Yes, indeed. There we go. Anyway, they put DLC directly into the game in such a way that it just pokes at you and says, hey, you should have the DLC. There's actually a weapon that's available for purchase at the Teletran store.
No one's tougher than me.
And it's there and it says DLC. Like, oh, really? And the funny thing is you can't actually get it because it was for pre-order bonuses only. So why would you even put it there? They're probably going to sell it later on, but it is obnoxious as hell to have that, and that's obviously a decision by Activision. The skin packs are not exactly cheap. I mean, they're $10 each, but... well, one way or the other, they're just skin packs, so I'm not really overly concerned about that. Alright, Grimlock is pissed! Dino form, yes, yes, all my yes! Alright, shit is going down, bring it. Inconceivable! Om nom nom! Yes! Use your flamethrower, damn right. Have some of this. Look at that. That's so fantastic. The game is full of awesome in every respect. A charge execution, eh? Alright, we can do that. Oh, yes. Delicious. It is delicious. I love the way that the Grimlock level is just designed in such a way as to allow you to inflict ultimate carnage on everything you see. It is just ridiculous. They didn't want to slow the pacing of the game down, which is why, of course, they took ideas from Space Marine to make that happen. This is a game that can appeal to people that are into Transformers or who just enjoy really good sci-fi third-person shooters, because it is that as well. I do have some minor niggles about it. I mean, there are some weapons which don't really feel as powerful as they should. Like, one of my favorite weapons, which I believe is the neutronic assault rifle, you would think, hello,
Excuse me.
that it would be an amazing, like, 3-barreled killing machine. It is, but it doesn't sound like it, and it doesn't really feel like it. I don't expect recoil when something's strapped onto a Transformer's arm, but the sound quality is not really all that good. But there's stuff like the Riot Cannon, which is the fusion cannon from the first game, which just feels great, and there are some seriously powerful weapons otherwise, so it is kind of hard to complain. Yeah, you... Come on, bro. Help me up. Oh, yes. Dinobots are the best thing. No question. I can't think of a single part of this game which frustrated me up to this point. There are parts where you die if you're stupid, but you always feel like, hey, I died because I was stupid. There we go. I didn't die because the game screwed me over, or there was BS, or any kind of dodgy mechanics, or instant death traps. No, it's because you're dumb and you took too much fire. It's as simple as that. You've got to be skillful. You have air dashes and rolls and things like that, which allow you to avoid almost anything, which is really great. And in fact, the air dashing does play a fairly integral part in the game, and you should be doing it all the time. You have to use it to get across certain gaps, and it's really good for avoiding attacks and things like that. There are a few too many of these whole press E to do stuff things, which kind of get annoying. Like, for some reason, every lever in the game, you have to press E to hold it, and then S to actually pull it, and I don't know, it just annoyed me slightly. It's a really minor complaint, but it really, in the single-player campaign, it's only minor complaints that I can actually come up with. So you can't really blame me for trying to find holes in what would otherwise be one of the most fantastic campaign experiences I've had in the last couple of years. So the levers, you know, minor complaint. The sound levels of some of the weapons, minor complaint. But let's just talk about what's great. Smashing the crap out of stuff. And this game does that incredibly well. It really does. Obviously, as Grimlock, you're very, very good at it, but as Optimus Prime, as Megatron, you are smashing your way through enemies, and it feels fantastic. Enemies come apart in a really satisfying way. There are a ton of new weapons. You have a primary weapon and a heavy weapon, and at the Teletran stores, you can get whatever weapon you want that you've used previously and unlocked. There's also a full upgrade system for every weapon. The primary weapons all have a final level of upgrade, and some of that is pretty cool. The final level of upgrade for... I suppose you could call it Megatron's weapon, but you can really use it on anything. The Riot Cannon is the ability to fire a mini nuke as your final bullet in a clip. Oh my god, it is as fun as it sounds. No real question about that, ladies and gentlemen. Good lord, it is incredible. Stuff just explodes. Even put a separate particle effect and animation in it just because, hey, why not? They really put a lot of effort into it. The only complaint I've got about that system is it doesn't tell you what it's going to do before you start upgrading the weapon. So you might have invested an awful lot of energon into one weapon and then find out that the final upgrade's really not to your liking. That was the Neutron Assault Rifle, for instance. You get an upgrade to your melee attacks, which is not really what I was looking for, even though it's useful. It just didn't really fit my playstyle. So it would have been nice to know prior to that, before you actually started investing an awful lot of energon in it. Did we get it yet? No, we did not. Come on. Oh, come off it, really? And this is why you wish you had a projectile attack as Grimlock. I'm evidently just a little bit too slow with this. Alright, we'll give it one more bash. Yes, I know, I got the idea the first time. I guess you've just got to time it better. There we go. Throw it before it starts to open, not while it's opening, because otherwise it's not fast enough. Alright, you little bastards. Let's kick the crap out of these guys. I've got an idea, yes. Let's kill everything. That sounds like a plan, right? Yeah! Have some of that. You know you want it. Oh, yes. I imagine I could probably push this over. Yeah, I'm working on it. Let me push this over. Okay, it's not going to let me do that for whatever reason. Yeah, okay. Yes, I was working on it. It's just not letting me push it over. Maybe I need to just toss something at it. That's a possibility. Not at you. That wasn't the aim. Indeed it is. Yep, more crap coming in our direction. I guess I could go Dinobot mode, but I don't know if that would be all that helpful. The funny thing is, like, as fun as this is, it's actually one of the weaker levels, I would say. Just in the fact that there is a lot of contrivance and a lot of gimmicky play required in order to obtain your objectives, wherein the other ones, it's a little bit more straightforward. It seems like the levels are really, really suited on purpose to the way that the actual Autobot or Decepticon plays. In this case, it's actually the opposite. They've deliberately put obstacles in your way that are, I suppose, the antithesis of what Grimlock is capable of doing, and it forces you to rely on this projectile system, which is not really what you want to be doing. I mean, I have a really awesome melee system, yet for a lot of this I'm having to just throw stuff at it, that's not really all that interesting. And then finally after that actually unlocks for whatever reason. But yeah, I wouldn't say that I'm disappointed with the Grimlock level. I just say, you know, there's every now and again I find these areas just to be slightly too annoying. It's like, really, why is it like this, you know? Alright, let us continue to rock and or roll. You don't really get lost in this game either, I could safely say. You know what you're doing. It's not that difficult to figure out. Do I really want to break out the Dino mode? Not yet. Yep, that's my plan, and I'm sticking to it. Anybody else want some? Oh, I want to play as that guy. Look at him. Look at him. He's a badass. He's fantastic. I want to play that guy. But you can't, sadly. I think you can play as him in the multiplayer, though, if you happen to have the DLC. It is only a skin, but it's still good enough nonetheless. Here, have some flamethrowers. You know you wanted some delicious barbecued Insecticon. Come on, get over here. I'm not going to destroy you completely. I'm just offering some wonderful heat in this cold, dark time of ours. Speaking of grim dark, there are actually some pretty dark moments in this game, although there's plenty of comedy relief as well. So that is to be expected, considering, you know, it is Transformers, and it deals with some pretty awesome themes. The area in itself, you know, Cybertron is pretty wrecked for the most part in this game, although there are still some really cool things to discover, and I will show you level 3 because it does contain Metroplex, who is, oh my god, you have no idea. Like, this is one of the greatest things I have ever seen, and you will get the chance to see it shortly in this video. I'm going to play just a little bit more of this level. I'd say this area is a little bit irritating, but it's still pretty fun, because you get to smash the crap out of things on the ground, and then execute them, and tear them to pieces, and be a general, complete and total badass, and then randomly fall into the acid. Because why not? You know what, this would actually be a good time to show you the Metroplex level, so let's do that. Alright, so we're gonna hop over to the campaign. There is a load of stuff I would love to show you, but I feel a lot of it would be spoilers. I'm avoiding that for the most part in this one. Yeah, let's rock and roll out with Optimus Prime, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, yes. That's fine, I'll come back to that later. Not a big deal. Alright, here we go.
You've got to hurry, Optimus. The Ark's about to come apart.
Then let's roll out.
Indeed we shall. So, you might recognize two of those voice actors, Peter Cullen, and then the guy who played the computer in Defense Grid. That is Metroplex. Oh, he's just he's just a part of the scenery, right? Nope. 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 You have no idea. You're gonna see some badass stuff. Now, vehicle sections are part of this game. I mean, you can just make whatever a vehicle section. I could just run that if I want, but it makes more sense just to transform. I still think they haven't quite... Dear God. They haven't quite got the whole vehicle transformation thing down. Not in terms of how they play, because the vehicles play great. It's just, for the most part, you don't need to be a vehicle, unless you happen to be a level like, say, the Vortex and Starscream levels where you need to fly. It's just an optional thing. It's very useful in the multiplayer, but for the most part, it is optional in the campaign. I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. I think it's cool that you're actually able to do sections with both. It's great that you actually have a choice. My god, Metroplex is amazing. Oh, but you haven't seen anything yet. You think that's great? You think that's great? Oh, no, 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 no. You don't even know. You don't even know. When I get to the bit... Oh, yes. People who have played this game already know what I'm talking about, but I'm going to show it to you anyway. This game is, in my opinion, an absolute, complete, and total triumph It really, really is. It's genuinely fantastic. It's so much fun the entire way through. It's got a ton of variety. It could have just been a generic third-person shooter, and that's exactly what you're seeing at the moment, but because of the way that the game is paced, and because of the variety of play styles that the game caters to in different levels with different characters, it just feels amazing, and you never get bored of it. It never outstays its welcome on any particular level. In fact, some of them I'd prefer to be a little bit longer. The Bruticus level, I think, I could have done with some more Bruticus. You get a giant spinning helicopter shield, you get a flamethrower, pretty much all the terrain on that level can be destroyed. It's badass. Without question. It really is absolutely wonderful. Starscream level could have maybe been a little bit longer as well. And they've also improved the abilities this time around. Like, if you remember the first level of War for Cybertron, you had a Q ability, and that actually allowed you to hover. And it did a little bit extra damage. Here, you hover much higher. It allows you to use it for platforming to get to higher sections of the level. And you can also then do a ground slam with it. So every ability has been amped up to 11 this time around. Alright. Yeah, okay, Metroblex is going to just be a little bit of a badass for a second. There we go. The bridge has been resolved. Metroplex is now the bridge, as you can see. Yeah, have some of that, you Deceptor creep. And yes, there is plenty of that cheesy Generation 1 stuff in this game, but it looks amazing. Really, really does look so very, very good. All right, let's have a look at the Teletran store. This allows you to pick the weapons. I've unlocked most of the weapons in this game. As you can see, there's quite a lot. This is the DLC weapon, by the way, and you can't actually buy it yet for whatever reason. There's also a weird community rating thing. They've allowed you to rate weapons and upgrades out of 5, which is quite handy. I mean, people are saying, oh, the Riot Cannon is a 5-star weapon, because it is. Like, look, screw it. Let's use the Riot Cannon. I have this fully upgraded. This thing is a absolute beast. And then you can see heavy weapons here as well, some of which are awesome. This, once again, is a DLC weapon that you got from pre-ordering the game. The Gear Shredder is probably my favorite. This slices through multiple opponents and they just come apart, so we're going to equip that. You can then get Assault Tech and Utility Tech. This is stuff that is just consumable throughout the game. You generally don't need it. The game is, I wouldn't call it easy, but it's totally fine to do without that. And then you can also get perks, which once again, you don't necessarily need either. I tend to avoid the vast majority of them. I grab the ones that were really, really good. And you can see that the community rating on some of these is questionable, to say the least. Do I want to pay 20,000 in order to get extra health? I don't really need it. Alright, I have the Riot Cannon, and Shiz is about to go down, that I can guarantee. Alright, what do you want me to do, eh? Yeah, we'll be fine. On the way up we go. Look at the animation quality in this. Like, they made Transformers move so well. It really, really does evoke the memory of Transformers. And, well, let's be honest, the animation's better than the cartoon, of course it is. And it's easily on the level of the Michael Bay films. Time to blow some shiz up. Oh, Decepticon Leaper incoming. We're just sinking the targeting network or whatever it is. Now, thankfully, at this part of the level, you don't usually have this gun, but now I do. So I'm going to make short work of these Decepticon Leapers by the looks of it. They're pretty cool enemies to fight, actually. They're really hard to kill from the front. Unless, of course, you have that. That was the mini nuke going off, and the Riot Cannon being its awesome self. Such a good gun. It's like, do I want my Thermo Rocket Cannon? No, because I have a Gear Shredder, which, in my opinion, is way more fun to use. Alright, more stuff coming our way. And transform out if you wish. And, you know, you've got quite a lot of damage available in this mode. You can even charge people, but the way you can go airborne and then transform in mid-air, and that's really cool to do with any of the flying Decepticons, particularly. You don't get to play a flying Autobot in this one. It's actually all Decepticons. You play Vortex and Starscream, so you don't play Jetfire or anything like that. I think you played Jetfire in the first game, didn't you? I can't necessarily actually remember, though. Yeah, you sit down right now. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's a stupidly fun game in every way. It's colorful, it's bright, it's explosive. Stuff is going on all the time. There's a huge amount of creativity and clear TLC put into the level design as well. There's a big variety in that, which is quite surprising considering, you know, it's on Cybertron, it's all going to be metal, right? Well, yes, but that doesn't mean that they can't put a lot of variety into the level design regardless. And they did. They really, really did. Some of the pseudo-Egyptian stuff in the Sea of Rust is unbelievable. Let's blow shiz up. Now, this is not the coolest bit. No, no, no. So Metroplex is going to blow this up, but yeah, trust me, later on, yeah, it gets even better. Go, Metroplex. Yes. Thank you very much. Uppercut the crap out of that bastard. I just want to get to the section which is really awesome, show you that. And then I will go on to multiplayer. It's like, oh, you gotta come to a conclusion? No, I want to play this game, damn it. This game's great. Don't interrupt me. It's got to be one of my favorite single-player games of this year so far. It really, really has. The multiplayer is not quite up to that, and, you know, we'll talk about that in detail in a minute, but the single-player itself, is it worth the price of asking? I mean, for a Transformers fan, you probably already bought it, and if you haven't, buy it. Please, for the love of God, buy it. You will not regret this at all. You really, really won't. For PC, it costs $60. It's a full price release from Activision, so that's to be expected. £30, so the UK guys actually saved 20% on that, which is impressive, because that's even after VAT. And the Europeans pay €50, so that's about the same as the dollar price, just a couple of percent more expensive. Yeah. Yeah, you think Metroplex cares? You think he cares? No, Metroplex gives not a single damn at this stage. Yeah, you have some of that. There you go. Optimus Prime came out of nowhere. Oh god, my face. Yeah, indeed. I need to stop reloading this gun, actually, because that's one of the worst things that you can actually do with the Riot Cannon upgrade, is to reload it, because you don't get that final mini-nuke shot. Sit down! Indeed, why do you fire at him? Like he cares. I love the fact that you get to do this entire level with Metroplex just being a complete and utter badass in the background. Oh, yeah, it's a wonderful thing. It really, really is. He's not been his most badassiest yet. I don't want to show you the part where he's really awesome, because that, in my opinion, constitutes a spoiler. But, yeah, once we get to the arena area, you'll see what I'm talking about here. This is the title that all licensed games, as far as I'm concerned, should be judged by. This is a company that clearly cares. Oh, yes. We're here. We're here. Yes. We are here. Watch this. This is Metroplex being a badass. You know, in other games, you get airstrikes. In this game, you get this. Oh, yes. It never gets old. It never gets old. And you can do that throughout the entire fight here. So once he actually recharges, you can do it again and again. It's like, Metroplex just gonna stand there being a massive 2-mile-high badass as everything blazes around him in the background. A true interpretation of awesome cybernetic warfare going on here. So much stuff in the background, so active all the time. You really feel like you're part of a futuristic war, and you're right in the thick of it, and you really are. You play your favorite characters. You don't just play some random guy and see Optimus Prime in the background. No, you are Optimus Prime, you are Megatron, you are Jazz, and yes, Jazz is as cool as you might think. You play Starscream, Vortex, Bruticus, Grimlock. My god, what more could you ask for in a single-player campaign? This is goddamn incredible! I would say that even on the basis of the single-player alone, which probably doesn't have a lot of replayability, I mean, there's secrets to find in audio logs, which are pretty awesome, but it doesn't have that co-op mode, so maybe you only play the campaign through once. It's still worthwhile, because it is one of the best single-player campaigns I have played in ages. So well-paced. So awesome. Alright, I don't want to show you any more of this because, once again, spoilers, spoilers, spoilers. Let's have a look at the multiplayer. So, while I gush all over the single-player campaign, the multiplayer is a bit of a different beast. It doesn't mean it's bad. Far from it. It just has a few problems that I need to highlight. So, let's head on into the multiplayer. So, the multiplayer is kind of your standard Call of Duty progression fest, which is the same as what the first one was, honestly. So, I don't really blame them for doing that. It's fully match-made, so on PC, it does have a few problems here and there. You can do a private match, which is nice. So if we were to go to create a character, well, we can pick one of 4 different classes. Things have been changed around. The scientist is the infiltrator. I think this guy used to be a scout or whatever, and yeah, I can't really remember. But the infiltrator's actually got cloaking and is more about sneaking around this time. So there's a bit more variety between the classes. The scientist can do a lot of support stuff, a lot of healing. I play a Titan because I play a Titan. Why, you know, why else would I don't have to explain that. No, I don't. So, yeah. I kind of picked the Dinobots DLC up. I am so very sorry. Wait, no, I'm not, because it's awesome. You can randomize, so you can do a ton of customization as well. If you want to check through, you can customize all of this stuff, and then you can essentially make your own Transformer. This, once again, is old school stuff that was, annoyingly enough, DLC. So it's kind of irritating, but, you know, again, it's... I'm not really going to complain too much about that, because... it's not really a big deal, but if you want, you can also pick armor sets of your favorite characters. You can set up all sorts of decals and things like that as well, so there's a lot of customization there. This whole cycle page thing is kind of annoying. It's not a big deal, because this is, for the most part, mouse-driven, but it's just, you'll occasionally find a cycle page button instead of just clicking on it, so it's not perfect yet. Yeah. And then you can pick your voice and things like that. And then if you want, you can customize your weapons, if you so desire. I like to go for the X-18 Scrapmaker and the Energon Harvester. I'm not level 6 yet, so I can't actually get the upgrades for it yet. Not a huge deal. And then you can also customize an ability here. You can go with this guy, Whirlwind, or Flak Shield. Go with Whirlwind. And then you kick the crap out of people. And that's essentially what it involves. You can also check the different factions. As you can see, I've picked all of the Dinobots. Because, well, why wouldn't I? If I recall correct, did I configure the Scientist with his Dinobot? Yes, I did. Yes, I did. And that's why the skin pack is awesome. What can I say? I'm a sucker for it. Okay, let's find a match and see if it actually works. So it's playlist-based. It's very much kind of console-orientated. If you want to matchmake with your friends, it's not impossible. You can indeed go to the friends list and actually do that. The matchmaking sometimes works, it sometimes doesn't. For the most part, it's pretty quick, but every now and again, you'll find when it's counting down to the next map, it actually goes into a negative countdown, so you get stuck there and you have to leave it. So there are still some bugs that need to be fixed in this. One of those bugs being that the game randomly alt-tabs sometimes when you're trying to get into a multiplayer game. No idea why. Alright, let's kick some ass. Sup, I'm a T-Rex, bring it. Alright, so this is very much your standard team deathmatch based affair. Oh, great, we got into one just as it was about to end. Oh, well, never mind. Can I steal the last kill? Oh god, it's shaking my desk to pieces. Sorry, I need to unplug my controller for a second here. You do not need to be doing that, thank you very much. I hate it when PC games do that, I really do. It's like, I'm not using the controller, we don't need vibration. Destroy the desk, indeed. Anyway, okay, so I guess we're going to find a multiplayer match now. But yeah, it's pretty much your standard team deathmatch affair. There are a couple of different game modes, although most people just seem to play TDM. And I don't really blame them, because TDM's fun enough on its own. The main problem is there's no way to communicate with your teammates at all. There's no voice over IP that works. There is no way to text chat or anything like that whatsoever, so... it's kind of annoying. I would recommend playing on, say, Vent, or even just using the Steam chat function with a bunch of your friends. That's probably the best way to play this game. But you don't need a huge amount of teamwork to play Team Deathmatch. You don't. You know, people seem to do their roles quite nicely. There is a conquest mode and things that might require a little bit more coordination. I don't necessarily think the multiplayer really lives up to the campaign, but that would be pretty damn difficult to do. What I can say is it's very fun and very functional. It's a really enjoyable third-person shooter, and there you go. There's that bug I was talking about. So this is basically balked, and now everyone's going to have to leave in order to make that work. As soon as they see that, they just jump out, because this is still a bug in the PC version. They need to fix this. Hopefully after this video, they will. I have sung my praises for High Moon from the high heavens, but I have to say, you've got to fix that problem, because it is making multiplayer very, very difficult to actually play online when that happens. All right, we'll jump in and we'll try and find another one, because honestly, you saw about 15 seconds of multiplayer, which was hardly reasonable. Yeah, the modes: Capture the Flag, Headhunter, which is basically Kill Confirmed, and then Conquest. I like Kill Confirmed. Kill Confirmed is a pretty good mode. That's Team Deathmatch is usually the one where you find the most people and has the fastest matchmaking, so I tend to jump into that every now and again. You've got that progression system and different unlocks and things like that, and I'm actually pretty impressed that they decided to take kill streaks out of the game, because I would think that with an Activision multiplayer title, you almost have to have that. I'd be very surprised if Activision doesn't mandate it, but no, they didn't put them in, because they said, look, it's unbalanced, we don't like it, it leads to unfair nonsense with snowballing of characters, so we don't want it in the game. We feel the game is more competitive without it. So I respect that. I very much do. All right. Let's rock and roll, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, time to kick some ass. Yeah! I'm in vehicle form. This doesn't count as vehicle form. This is a dinosaur with a nitro booster on its back, by the way, because why not? I don't think they fully thought this through, but I am in a mood where I actually do not care. It's just like, you get to smack the crap out of everything! Whirlwind time. Well, it could have gone better, certainly. You do die pretty quickly in this game as well. Also, things to consider, stuff that you have learned from the campaign. Pressing C to swap your weapons to the other arm, for instance, making use of the cover that you can. There is no cover-based shooting mechanics. You don't stick into cover as you might expect in other titles. No. You sit down. Thank you very much. Should have probably just switched over to the Energon Harvester there. You still get experience boosts and all sorts of extra XP for doing really cool kills like you did in the first game, so that's something that I'm really glad they managed to keep in. I mean, it's overall a really nice deathmatch experience, honestly. It gives me this kind of Unreal Tournament vibe, just like the first one did. Oh, he's got the Dinobot pack as well, yeah. No one is surprised by that, because Dinobots are awesome, so why the hell would you not want to do that? Da-da-da-da-da. Oh, we got Energon Harvester? Yes, I do. You're all gonna sit down, I think. Yes. Yes, indeed you are. Pterodactyl coming in. Yeah, have it. Higher level my ass. I don't need it. Don't need it. But yeah, the multiplayer is totally functional and a bunch of fun, and I think actually does add value to the title. The escalation mode is good too. Like, if you just want to kill a bunch of Insecticons and all sorts of other cool stuff with your friends, you can do that in the escalation mode. The game is a fully featured, full value package, which is really well put together and shows an astonishing and, in my opinion, aside from, say, Arkham Asylum and Arkham City, an unprecedented amount of care being put into a licensed title. They really do care about Transformers. That is obvious. There is no way you can possibly claim otherwise. It's just so very awesome. There's just too much detail put in, there's too much great voice acting, awesome script writing, and fantastic fuck yeah moments to suggest that this is any kind of cynical cash-in. It is truly great. It is an amazing game. It improved in almost every way from the original, and they have created something which I can heartily recommend to anyone, regardless of whether or not you actually are a Transformers fan. You shouldn't care if you're a Transformers fan. It's like you shouldn't care if you're a 40k fan playing Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine, because the gameplay is so good. But I will say that this is a better game than 40k Space Marine. It's got more variety in it. It doesn't just rely on one thing, because there are so many different playstyles in this game. There are so many different types of approaching the actual combat that they have taken and made entire levels themed upon, and it works really, really well. It genuinely does. Super impressive. I love this game to bits. I will be finishing it. One of the first games, I think, in a long time that I've actually got the chance to finish. Yeah, have some of that. Yeah. Stick that up your tailpipe, you bastards. Weak, weak Autobots. Foolish mortals, we shall take away their metal boxes. Oh yeah, have some of that. Indeed. Sit down. And you, sir? Well, I was going for the 7-kill streak. I was hoping this guy would kill it prior to that, but no, because he sucks and he's terrible. But yeah, it's, as I say, the multiplayer mode's good. It's a shame that it's matchmaking, because you do have some lag problems here and there. You've got that bug that needs to be fixed with the infinite countdown. I hope once they've got all of that sorted out, that this will turn into a truly great multiplayer experience. It's already pretty damn fantastic. Yeah, I can hardly recommend it enough. There are so few complaints that I've got about this game. There really are. Some could complain that, oh, it's a generic third-person shooter, but I don't think they really understand the game. If you honestly think that, then I think you are just not thinking straight. It isn't. It just isn't a generic third-person shooter. It's got so much to offer. It does so many different playstyles so very, very well. Yeah, I'm a dinosaur. Yeah, I'm still a dinosaur. Check it out. Fall of Cybertron. If you don't want to pay $60 for it, wait for it to go on sale. No doubt it will. And it's worth it at any price. It really is. Brilliant game. Astonishing. High Moon have outdone themselves. They could never make a game again, and this would, of course, be their finest hour, but I hope they continue to make games. Let's hope that Activision doesn't decide to throw them away, as they do with so many other great studios. Fall of Cybertron, ladies and gentlemen. Check it out. You would be foolish not to. My name has been Totalbiscuit. I'm going to go finish the game. I'll see you next time.